All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies now. No longer in charge, this is the Standard. Lost control, and once again the National Police Service finds itself at the center of a scandal, accused of escorting hired thugs to disrupt worship in Othaya. As public outrage grows, arrests remain elusive and promised disciplinary action has failed to materialize, deepening suspicion of institutional paralysis or complicity. From the chain of command to the silence of senior officers, the incident has reignited fears that rogue elements within the service operate with impunity. Yes, and the biggest question was, what happened to the belief, or is it a facade, or is it a fallacy, that the police service is independent under the Inspector General of Police? Now, the DCP leader is quoted here. He says the police officers John Maina, alias Birash, and Peter Wainaina Kabuga attached to Murang'a woman representative Betty Maina commanded police officers and goons led by Ambrose Manyeki from Murang'a. That is according to Rigathi Gachagua. Mushiri Nyaga, the police spokesman, says, we are providing support to the independent body just as we are in the Witima church case. These are incidents that must be conclusively dealt with. The Internal Affairs Unit is working jointly with IPOA. Lakini wako na concerns. How can police investigate themselves? Yes, indeed. IPOA should come in. I remember Badu, and someone raised this yesterday, that the chairperson of IPOA, or the person who was chairperson, has now been nominated, or actually appointed, because I saw the Gazette notice, is appointed a judge of the Court of Appeal. That's Isaac Hassan. Now people are wondering, okay, fine, is IPOA still able to do this currently before the appointment of another chairperson? So bado kuna mshike pale. All right. Of course, questions raised over police command structures. More officers go rogue. Latest incident saw police officers allegedly escorting hired thugs to cause chaos at a church in Othaya. This story is on page 4 and is the only story covered on the front page of the Standard. New report reveals a country at war with its women and children. Technical Working Group on Gender Violence releases latest data and recommendations. It shows that some 34% of women have been physically abused by age of 13. Wow. From 13. Slightly more than a third of all women in Kenya. Of course, this is the Nancy Baraza's led team. This story is on page 2. Man set record by collecting 2.2 tons of diapers. Wow. Isn't he used diapers? Yes. Page 3, that one. There's an interesting story on page 5, and it has to do with politics as members of parliament continue their retreat ahead of the return for the 5th session of the 13th parliament. So the speaker told them, actually, about 15% of you are not coming back next year. Vile kunaenda, tumeangalia na tumeona close to 60% of you, 6 out of 10, you will not get re-elected. Judge. Okay. So they have their own ways of doing it. Anyway, on page 6, questions of a next poll as IEBC postpones boundaries review. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission may not undertake a full boundary delimitation exercise this year. It has emerged, citing time constraints and insufficient budget. IEBC Chairperson Rasas Ethekon yesterday said the Commission's priority is preparations for the 2027 polls. All right. ODM was rekindle memories of past bitter ousters of top leaders, and that story on page 8. School attack triggers teachers transfer amid silence by unions. There's a story on page 9, and on the back page, support and criticism for co-hosts ahead of 2027 AFCON. Harambee Stars coach McCarthy says Kenya was capable of hosting a major tournament. Focus is on East Africa after Morocco hosted a successful 2025 Nations Cup. CAF president anasema, I have a duty to develop football all over Africa. I cannot have football only in those countries with the best infrastructure. Yeah, Morocco was something else. Morocco was something else. It has some of the biggest stadiums in Africa. Yeah. Some of the best football infrastructure that we've ever seen. Actually better than some European countries. But now next year, imagine. It happened this January, next year. Yeah. Kenya tuko up. The best we have ni Talanta Stadium. Bado ijaisha. Lakini CAF president amesema inclusion matters. Tusaidia hata wale wanyonge. From the Standard, go to the Daily Nation. A totally different story here talking about SHA.
So 11 billion shilling looted from SHA. Health CS Aden Duale says 40 rogue medics have been sanctioned. So the Social Health Authority lost 11 billion shillings to fraud between October 2024 and April last year. That's 6 months, with private hospitals submitting the bulk of fake claims. This is a Ministry of Health audit has revealed. So they say that quite a number of hospitals were actually admitting people for ailments that did not need admission, so that they could claim more. Others were claiming that the only way women are delivering babies in their hospital is through C-section, no normal births. Others are claiming they're doing some very serious surgeries, which they're not even capable of doing. And then they claim from SHA. So 75 billion shilling is the amount paid to the Social Health Insurance Fund in the past 14 months. But of that, 11 billion was looted in 6 months. We're not so sure kama ilishia hapo ama bado imeendelea. Another story here, murdered tutor had survived another Al-Shabaab attack. There's a story about Stephen Musili, a teacher at Hulugo Primary School in Garissa County, who escaped by the skin of his teeth a raid by suspected Al-Shabaab terrorists. The attackers also left a chilling warning they would return. Now on Sunday, the father of two was shot dead by attackers at his rented house in Hulugo. So they had already threatened they would come back. Aliponea na wakasema at only 35 years of age. And that's part of the problem in the northern and northeastern side of Kenya when it comes to education. That watu wamejitolea kwenda kukuwa walimu, then you lose your life. Very unfortunate. Pale juu, why there will not be new electoral units for 2027 polls matters to do with the review of electoral boundaries. IBC says Ningumo. Next year's elections will have to rely on an electoral map drawn 14 years ago, a move that shortchanges communities in representation and resource allocation. The other challenge is that the elections themselves could be challenged in court because we did not comply with the Constitution in boundaries review. But let's not jump the gun. Inside pages, that Garissa raid that killed a teacher, how Al-Shabaab, I've seen the story. ODM 2027 demands spark jitters in President's party. Now wanasema they are still going for nothing less than the running mate position to William Ruto. All right, so back page, Matters Sports, 20 athletes found guilty of age cheating after probe. Watu wanadanganya. World Athletics boss Sebastian Coe warned of severe bans. At least 20 Kenyan international athletes have been found guilty of age cheating in the ongoing investigations. Lakini ni kitu Wakenya wamezoea sana. Kwanza ladies, wakisema vile they are young. Kuna wale hawajaipita 24. Na tunajua tulikuwa na wao, sasa sisi tunazeeka, we almost 60 years bado kwa 24. Another story, Kenya calls off trials for World Indoor Games after being allocated only 6 slots. Yes, that's a delineation.
All right. Taifa Leo, wabunge wa bei ya jioni. Spika akemea wabunge wanaotumia mawakala kudai wakuu wa mashirika hongo wasitajwe visivyo katika ripoti. Uadilifu wa wabunge wanapotekeleza majukumu yao ya kikatiba katika kamati za bunge umeitiliwa shaka tena, huku spika wa bunge la kitaifa Moses Wetangula akiwaonya vikali dhidi ya matumizi mabaya ya mamlaka yao. Wetangula aliwataka wabunge hao wazingatie sheria na maadili ya kazi ya bunge, akilaumu kamati kwa kula hongo. Ni habari katika ukurasa wa pili. Na vidokezo zaidi, washauri wa Ruto mashakani. David Ndii na Harriet Chigai wakabiliwa na kesi wakidaiwa kudharau mahakama. Hawa ni wale walikuwa declared. Ilikuwa illegal ama nini?
Wale advisors walisemekana the appointment was not constitutional at all.
Yes. Bandarini wadau wavutana, ni habari katika ukurasa wa 3. India na EU zatia saini mkataba. Nasema waziri wa biashara wa India asifu mkataba huo akiurejelea kuwa wa kihistoria. Na kule juu ile habari kuhusu SHA, mamlaka ya afya ya jamii SHA ilipoteza shilingi bilioni 11 kutokana na ulaghai kati ya Oktoba mwaka 2024 na Aprili mwaka jana huku hospitali za kibinafsi zikiwasilisha madai mengi ya uongo. Ukaguzi wa Wizara ya Afya umefichua. Ni habari katika ukurasa wa 3. Taifa Leo.
Kutoka Taifa Leo, let's take a look at the People Daily. It talks about opportunity knocks. Can they seize it before 2027 is a question, because as it would appear, when it comes to political discussions currently, President William Ruto appears to be a step ahead in as far as ensuring that people talk about his party and the coalition or the plans he has to form a coalition with ODM. So this is sort of a challenge to the other side, it's called the United Opposition. But there are opportunities, but can they seize them before 2027? There have even images of some of the luminaries in the United Opposition: Fred Matiang'i, Justin Muturi, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, Rigathi Gachagua, and Kalonzo Musyoka. Are they able to leverage on some of the opportunities available to them to challenge properly President Ruto's re-election? That is what this paper focuses on.
It's currently leading at 27%.
28% according to the last polls, yes. But then again, if you consider that he won with a 50% plus something, that was a significant drop, more than 22%. Yeah. So, but then again, can these people take advantage of that?
You know, the questions that I was seeing going on around online, that coalition between UDA and ODM, wouldn't it weaken ODM if they cannot front a presidential candidate, if they're going for the deputy president? Because parties, it's a competition. Then that coalition.
It is indeed a big discussion. If at all, ODM for the first time in like how many, in 2 decades?
Yes, 20 years.
In 20 years, they're not fielding a presidential candidate. So that will be a different kind of ODM.
For
That's
the
a
first
different
time
experience
ever.
for ODM members. They don't have their own presidential candidate. Now they're relying on a presidential candidate from a coalition partner. Interesting.
Interesting. The top story.
Pale chini, no more dynasties inside Kenya's youth-driven political shift. Youth gani? How are you register as voters? That's the concern. Pale juu targeted again and again the list of attacks on Gachagua. I think the Daily Nation did it yesterday. They listed the chronology of events from as early as 2024, immediately after his impeachment, 10 times that he has been involved in such fracas. That's the People Daily.
All right, the Star, chemical castration for men to end rape, game changer. And some strategy to take the wind out of the sails. This story is on page 4 and on page 5. Let's see, kidogo tuangalie ni nini inaendelea hapa. This is with regard to that report on GBV, and a task force assigned by President William Ruto to look into rising cases of femicide and other forms of GBV has proposed chemical castration for sexual offenders. Now they know. Amend the Sexual Offences Act 2006 to include chemical castration for both male and female child defilers and defilers of people with disabilities. Now, chemical castration involves the use of chemicals or medicine to stop the production of sex hormones, leaving the offender with no urge. Uko tu, yani you cannot. Like, ili ajana erectile dysfunction, hata sasa hiyo ni afadhali. Hii, you cannot at all.
Well, anyway, I think even more worrying are these statistics on the front page.
Now, women aged 15 to 49 years have ever experienced physical violence by country. They're here on the front page, and leading is, of course, Nyeri County with 53.7%.
That's Muranga.
Is it Muranga?
Muranga, yeah.
It's
Nyeri
Muranga.
Is 36, yes.
Nyeri is 36. I beg your pardon, sorry for that. And then we have this one, 41.9%.
Uasin Gishu.
This is Uasin Gishu in Afuata. We have Kiambu at 41.7%. So the top three are Muranga, Uasin Gishu, and Kiambu counties, leading.
Kakamega and who else? Kakamega and Tharaka Nithi following very closely.
Yes. Kakamega at, Embu at 40.3. Is it Embu? This is Embu. Yes, Kirinyaga is at 39.6. Embu is at 40.3%, and then Kakamega at 40.1%. Top 5 counties leading in physical violence against women. From Malaysia to Thailand is another story here, unanswered questions in case of missing Kenyan. It's on page 3, where Tangla blasts MPs over rent-seeking amid plans to punish anti-government MPs.
That thing about the speaker telling MPs that they're rent-seeking is very interesting, because it's what the president said last year, that MPs have turned their job into demands for money and other things. Wakakasirika wakasema in fact they'll defeat anything from the president. What happened? See, they were back in State House juzi wakiimba.
All right. Kule juu, Truth Earners 72-hour tree hugging record ratified by Guinness World Records. Hii ni kama tutaongelea the whole week. Kila newspaper inaongelelea kila siku. It's okay. Disband police, citizens deserve a service that protects, not oppressed. This is according to Lavis Sultan. That's the Star, fresh, independent, different.
Definitely very fresh and different. This, I have not seen it in any other daily, at least not on the front pages. Finally, Business Daily, house prices rise fastest since 2015 as land slows. Home prices have jumped 7.7% amid economic upturn. Rents have contracted to 2.5% following apartments glut. Yeah, because zimekuwa nyingi sana. Kileleshwa apartments zimejaa hivi. Kilimani.
Kila siku construction.
Someone and make fun, it's a construction site. Vumbi imejaa kila mahali. So house prices in Nairobi and its environs grew at the fastest pace since 2015, driven by rising demand for standalone units as land prices slowed after developers reduced the need for plots to build apartments following a glut. Another story, Del Monte's deals with sister farms trigger a 6.76 billion shillings tax war, is a story there. And on the ticker, fear of ghost workers in counties as 25% of staff unverified. Wanaandikwa tu fwa.
When it's every year.
Every year. Counties have become employment bureaus. Kuandika tu watu from the same community. Another story, KQ stocks rallies 70% on rumors of strategic investor. And LAP fund, that's a local government fund, local authorities pension fund, on the spot for 1.3 billion shillings advance payment to contractors. A contractor may pay 1.3 billion advance. Those are the dailies this morning.
Wow. All right, once again, State of the Nation.
Yes, Joe Nyoto, Senator Muranga, Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator Tana River, and Professor Frodo Gola, who's an economics and governance expert, will be in studio in a few minutes to help us take a look at the big discussions according to the dailies.
All right. Today being a Wednesday, we're asking situationships, ghosting, and commitment fear. Is this the new normal? And we have a counselor. Atuambie shida yenu iko wapi. Why are we normalizing this?
All right.
That is Dr. Julius Kimani. They'll be here from 8 a.m. Now, tuangalie caricatures, wanasema vipi.